BYU versus Cincinnati is a game that essentially determines the Big 12 championship game and determines even the destiny of the Big 12. If Cincinnati wins, think about it this way. BYU's not making the college football playoff. They're 11th. They're one of the lowest ranked one-loss teams, if not maybe the lowest one-loss team. I forget if they are exactly the lowest, but they're one of the lowest. They're 9-1, 6-1, ranked 11th. They're power rated inside of most top 25s, top 20s, but not quite top 15 or top 10. Their strength of schedule metrics actually surprised me. I thought they'd be worse, but they have a tougher strength of schedule than some people realize. I love Kalani Sitake. I think that him and Jay Hill and Aaron Roderick have one of the better staffs in America. They know how to punch above their weight class, squeeze all the talent they can get out of their players. They're only 2.5-point favorites over Cincinnati on the road, and this will be a big noon kickoff game in terms of location. Not the broadcast. This will be an 8 p.m. Eastern time game on Fox, but big noon kickoff will have their morning show at this location, which I love. This is a big game. Don't let anyone get that mistaken. Cincinnati has had some unfortunate losses go their way. Close loss to Arizona and Nebraska. Blowout loss to Utah. This is going to be a big game. It's a big game for Scott Satterfield, for Brennan Sorsby, for that Cincinnati program. It's the same thing for BYU because Cincinnati, unless they win this game and win out, and even if they win out, they wouldn't win the tiebreaker over Utah, for example. I don't even think there is a path for them at currently 7-3, 5-2 in the Big 12 to reach the Big 12 championship game, barring absolute chaos where all the teams ahead of them lose, which it is the Big 12, so I guess that is possible, but the likelihood of that happening, I don't exactly know. They don't have much to lose here. BYU has everything to lose. If BYU wins this game, they're probably beating UCF and then going to the Big 12 championship game. And if they enter the Big 12 championship game at 11-1 and play Texas Tech more competitively than they did in Lubbock, I think there's a really good chance they could go to the playoffs with where they're currently ranked. Cincinnati is not ranked, but they were ranked 25th last week. This channel will make you a college football expert and help you enjoy watching games and make more accurate predictions. So what are you waiting for? Like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, comment your thoughts, and watch the video all the way through so that you can get the full package. And check the description and pinned comment for more ways to help yourself and this channel. And with 11 wins and one bad loss, but another loss that's competitive against a 12-1 Texas Tech team, hypothetically, I think there's a good chance they might still get in. If they beat Texas Tech, they're definitely in the playoffs. The Big 12 should want BYU to win because it gives them the opportunity to get two teams in. For Cincinnati here, a win here and then closing out the season with the road game against TCU gives you an opportunity to have some redemption and to have that feeling of the Cincinnati of old under Luke Fickell, where you've beaten multiple competent teams this year, or at least you have if you will have won out. Iowa State no longer looks like one of those teams as it did at the time Cincinnati won that game in dominant fashion. You'll have won multiple games. You'll have flirted in the month of November with the Big 12 championship game, with a Big 12 championship game appearance. And that is important for building your program's prestige, for recruiting, for coaching stability, for getting buy-in, which I don't think Cincinnati necessarily has a ton of buy-in. Again, this is a massive game. And I do think BYU is better coached. I do think from an overall team angle, these teams are pretty similar. If I had to lean one way, I'd lean BYU. I will say, though, I think BYU might be a little bit puffed up from a ratings angle. Don't know how true that is. I don't. That blowout win over TCU was pretty impressive. And I do think that if I had to lean one way, they would be the better team. That's why they're favored here. But upsets happen. Cincinnati knows how to run the ball. Do they know how to play defense all that well? Not particularly. But upsets happen. Weird performances happen. I mean, I've seen BYU this year play Arizona in overtime on the road. Iowa State was a close game, and then BYU got that pick six, and Texas Tech just was not competitive at all. BYU at home is, I think, showcased by the TCU game, and the BYU game is better than BYU on the road. For Cincinnati, losing to Arizona at home, I think might have been indicative of a look-ahead spot for that BYU game. So I like BYU here to compete, and they could certainly win. I don't think Cincinnati will blow them out, but I do think Cincinnati will pull off that upset. Looking at the Big 12 standings here, if BYU wins this game, and again, they'll likely beat UCF because UCF's not good, especially on the road. They'll probably rematch with Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship game. If they lose here with their conference win-loss record combined, if there is another team tied with them, and presumably Utah, who should win out after that Baylor game, Utah would probably play in a rematch against Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship game. Not to hate on BYU, but I do think Utah would have a better chance at beating Tech than BYU in a rematch. Nonetheless, though, I don't think you're going to get that rematch between Tech and BYU because I think BYU will lose here and Cincinnati will win and cover. Thank you for watching. It's my mission on College Football with Sam to make you the most informed, knowledgeable, and entertained fan as possible. We aren't perfect, but we hit the nail on the head more often than we hit our thumb with the hammer. Make sure to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, comment, and if you're here, you've probably already watched the whole video. So thank you for doing those things.